Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a very warm welcome to this presentation. The topic today is $1 million question, allocation between our two strategies, Mystic Wealth Value and Mystic Wealth Momentum. Now, this is a question that gets asked quite often, so I thought let's make a presentation around it. So, as you know, SEBI mandates that to participate in a PMS, you need to allocate a minimum of 50 lakh rupees, but there is no cap between how much to allocate between the two strategies of the same PMS. So, while you will have to put in 50 lakh rupees, how much you will give to MWV and MWM is based on your discretion, is up to you. So you can have 40 lakh in value and just 10 lakh in momentum, or the other way around based on your biases. Now, this presentation is for the people who don't have such a bias and don't have such preset inclination as to where they want to put the money. So, hopefully, this presentation will solve that query for you and help you along the way. Now, we'll talk about the optimal level where what you should be doing. Now, this optimal level of division between value and momentum is done on two counts. One is the psychological side of it, and the other is the practical backtest side of it. Now, I won't talk about the backtest details per se in this presentation due to regulation issues, but you can go through our CFA presentations in the past where we have detailed various permutations and combinations, how your drawdown comes down while not sacrificing too much on the return when you mix Mystic Wealth Value and Mystic Wealth Momentum in different proportions. Ideally speaking, what we have figured out that when you put 50-50% each in both of them, let's just say 25 lakhs in one and 25 lakhs in another, it creates for a very smoother equity curve, bringing down the drawdowns. We will talk about that in the next slide. This is the practical side of the reason why you should be going for a 50-50 cut. And then there is a psychological side of it. And this is very interesting, guys. I was reading this particular question in FAQ of Ed and one of the participants asked this question, although Ed answered this in terms of a particular trade, but this actually holds true in our case as well. So I'll just explain it. Give me a minute. So the question was, let's just say somebody has gone long a particular stock and that stock has done really well for him, and now he's not able to sleep at night as to how to ride that trend further because his stop losses are way down below and the stock has catapulted further up. Since he's not able to sleep at night, should he square off the position, and if yes, how much should he square off? And Ed gave a very beautiful answer to this question, saying that 50% is the optimal level where the pain of the decision would be the least. And he goes on to explain how that is the case. Once the decision has been taken to take off 50% of the portfolio off or the stock off, what would happen is that doesn't matter what happens from here on, let's just say if a stock goes further up, you will have a psychological relief saying that at least half of my position is making money. Similarly, let's just say if the stock crashes from there, you will have a psychological relief saying that at least I got to square off half of my position at a decent profit. So 50% is that optimal psychological pain point which holds you in good stead. Same is true for position sizing or portfolio allocation between two strategies. Let's just say if you don't have any view and you put in 50% in Mystic Wealth Value and 50% in Mystic Wealth Momentum, and from here on, let's just say after your decision, let's say value does really well and gives you a triple digit return, whereas momentum sulks and doesn't do much. Now you will be in that psychological least pain zone where you'll say at least half of your portfolio did really well. Opposite's true as well. So optimally speaking, we usually suggest you go for a 50-50 between value and momentum. This is a point of least regret both psychologically and also as far as our back tests are concerned. A 50-50 combo creates a very smooth equity curve. Now, the reason why this generates a smooth equity curve is because of what is called as the uncorrelation. Uh, and I need to add a caveat here. It's not that all the momentum and all the value are uncorrelated. Maybe they are, maybe they are not. But particularly in our case, because when we say value, we are not necessarily saying uh, the quantitative value factor. When we say value, we are talking about mystic wealth value, how Dayanand Deshpande selects his stocks, finding inefficiencies in spin offs, management change as a theme, or growth at reasonable price framework. And when you combine this with MWM, which is our momentum, again, momentum is not your regular momentum, as in the normal rate of change and selecting the top 30 stocks. It's in particular Mystic Wealth momentum, which has its own algorithm, a trend following overlay, the cash call mechanism, and the full 9 yards. And when you combine these two together, the equity curve becomes very smooth. So, historically speaking, just to put things in perspective, Mystic Wealth Value had a drawdown of around 34%. It fell in line with the markets in the corona crash, whereas Mystic Wealth Momentum fell around 28% in 2018-19 Chop Fest. But when you combine both of them together at a 50-50 ratio, magically the drawdown comes down at only 21%. And why is that happening? Because both these strategies are falling at different uh, time points. And not only that, both of these strategies have taken cash calls at different price points. And hence, the overall combo falls a lot lesser without compromising too much on the return. Of course, it compromises on the return. It will not be the best return, but somewhere right in between. But it serves the purpose because the drawdown gets reduced considerably. Now comes the individual biases part. Now this is very important, guys. Like optimally, I've told you that you need to do a 50-50. But in our own house, we've not been able to do that. I mean, call it hindsight bias. Now I regret that I should have probably allocated more to Mystic Wealth Value in my personal portfolio, but I did. But that's just hindsight bias because in the last 4 years, value did really well, around 45% CAGR, whereas momentum did sulk a bit, sulk a lot. And but having said that, this is hindsight bias because prior to that, prior to these 4 years, it was momentum which was ruling the roost and did really well while value was sulking. So it's like yin and yang. The individual biases would always be there. I don't know if this slide is making sense to you. This is, I'm trying to show a photograph of twins. Although they are same, but they are never the same. No two people are same, and so your individual biases would play a role. Within us, like Daya is more loaded towards value and less towards momentum, and I'm more loaded towards momentum and less towards value. That is bound to happen. So if you have individual biases, you need to cater to them, and you will allocate more to your biases. There's no running around that. Having said that, the conclusion of this presentation is mix in accordance with your biases, but mix for sure and take advantage of the uncorrelation. Now, what I'm essentially saying is that biases को तो avoid नहीं किया जा सकता. If you don't have any biases, that's just wonderful. फिर तो आप 50-50 डाल दो. 50 momentum में डालो और 50 value में डालो. But if you have biases, you have to cater to them. Then do a 60-40, 70-30, 80-20, whatever you deem fit. But make sure you are doing it because mixing works. We have shown this in backtest. Mix in accordance with your biases, but don't avoid the mixes completely. 100% एक में मत डालो because you should take advantage of the uncorrelation. Both these strategies are falling at different price points. Drawdown timelines are different. इसीलिए the overall equity curve becomes very smooth and without sacrificing too much on the returns. I hope this answers the $1,000,000 question that we keep getting, how much to allocate. Thank you. You can contact us at info@mysticwealth.in Our Twitter handle is mysticwealth11 and the website is mysticwealth.in. Thank you.